Another frustrating loss. Week 11, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go into New York and lose to the New York Giants. Mind you, the Giants are not a good team. I know a lot of Giants fans are probably going to be mad if they see this, but the Giants are not a good team. They scored 38 points, which is their highest point total in the last 3 seasons, which tells you all you need to know. All season they've been struggling, trying to, get the ball down the field, trying to score points, and against the Bucs, I mean, it seems like the Bucs defense is like the antidote for every team's offensive struggle. So, of course, as expected by a lot of Bucs fans, I predicted this last week as well. The Giants were going to beat the Bucs, and that is what ended up happening. The Bucs look like a horrible team. We're not a good football team right now. I feel like with appropriate and better coaching, we could be potentially on the brink of playoffs, but of course, we have a very incompetent coaching staff that doesn't know how to put their players in position to win, that is afraid to win the game and would rather play not to lose. And this is the result that you get, a team that is not prepared and cannot execute appropriately. As a Bucs fan, this season has been absolutely incredibly frustrating. We came in this season with high expectations because of all the additions we had, and this was supposed to be the season that we're going to turn it around. We have the best offensive pieces we've ever had. We have the best defensive pieces we've had in the last decade, and this was supposed to be the season that we put it all together. The coaches have done a horrible job in decision making. It seems like Dirk Cutter doesn't know what to do. He fired the defensive coordinator, which is like 9-10 weeks, a little bit too late. He took back play calling duties and then gave it back to Monken, but today it seemed like he was still calling plays. There was a couple shots from the Fox cameras where he was looking at his play calling sheet and talking into his microphone, so it seems like maybe he is calling plays. I don't know what's going on. Dirk Cutter has ran out of cards to play. His hand-picked Ryan Fitzpatrick lost all his magic and turned back to Fitztragic. It's a mess overall. But before I get started on the winners or the losers of the game, if you are new here, make sure you click subscribe, like and comment this video. Leave in the comments what you think we should do. If we have any head coaching potential changes, who would you like to see? What decisions you think we need to make going forward? Should Jameis Winston continue to start or Fitzpatrick? The first winner of the game, I have to give it to Peyton Barber. 18 carries, 103 yards, which is almost 6 yards a carry. Incredible game by him. I feel like he could break 100 yards every single week if we run the ball enough. We usually don't run the ball that much because we're always getting blown out and we abandon the run so quickly. So great game to him. Very hard runner, does not like to get past people. He likes to run them over, and I don't think they're expecting that considering his size. He seems a little bit on the smaller side, but he does run people over, and it's great to see him just bulldozing. Reminds me of like a Mike Allstott, obviously not as accomplished or not as big, but he has that running style where he's just going to run into you and lay you out. Second winner of the game, I have to give it to Jason Pierre-Paul, JPP, 9.5 sacks. At one point it looked like he had 10 sacks, but they changed one of them to a half sack, so he's at 9.5, and it's not crazy to think that he's going to get at least half a sack within the next 6 games. He will be our first defensive line player to break 10 sacks since Simeon Rice. That is literally a curse that we've been struggling with for the last, I think, 11 years, maybe 12 years, and now it's finally going to be broken. I have no doubt that he's going to at least get a half sack the way he's been playing. If he doesn't get at least half a sack in the next 6 weeks, then something is terribly wrong. But I think he will, so shout out to Jason Pierre-Paul, always plays hard. Definitely the best and hardest working player on our defensive line. Third winner of the game, I have to give it to Jameis Winston. He was 12 of 16, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. The 1 interception was a Hail Mary at the end that we had to throw, which I will get into later about Deshaun Jackson and his tendency to quit, especially when Jameis Winston is behind center. But Jameis Winston came in, he led 5 straight touchdown drives actually, and he got us within a field goal multiple times, in which the defense ended up giving the Giants a chance to go and extend it back to 10 points. I think it was twice he got us within 3, and then our defense disappeared, and then the Giants went down and scored and made it back to a 10-point game. So Jameis Winston played great. I mean, there was the 2 incompletions that I saw that were really bad were the ones that were bobbled that almost picked, but he's playing from behind. What's he gonna do? And interestingly enough, when Ryan Fitzpatrick almost leads a comeback, fans go crazy, they hype him up. Look how good he is. If it was just our defense, could have played better. But then when Jameis Winston does it, you're gonna see it silent completely. Now going to our losers of the game. The first loser of the game is going to Ryan Fitzpatrick, because the magic has disappeared since he was benched the first time. I think they said in his last 4 games, and I think that's including this one, I don't know his half in this one, but I think he's had 11 interceptions to only 7 touchdowns. And that's the same thing that got Jameis Winston benched. So I'm glad that Dirk Cutter finally made the decision, although Jameis probably should have started this game today. But that it is what it is. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think he's done. He should not start again. No matter how bad Jameis plays, I don't think we put Fitzpatrick in. It's not good to keep swapping out QBs. Which leads to my second loser of the game, which is Dirk Cutter. again, an absolutely horrible coach. He's a dead man walking essentially, and his handpicked Ryan Fitzpatrick, which he consistently pushed down our throats, did not work out, and now he has to play Jameis. It looks bad, I think, completely on just his mismanagement of our quarterbacks and the talent on our team. Dirk Cutter's gone after this season. His stubbornness to continue sticking with Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though Ryan Fitzpatrick wasn't showing us that magic he had before. It's not good. Shannon Sharp and Undisputed always says Ryan Fitzpatrick is a great quarterback until there are expectations, and after he got the starting job, the expectations came in and he disappeared. So Dirk Cutter, I'm absolutely 1000% he's done after this season. I think even if we go these last 6 games like 3-3, I think Dirk Cutter's done. I think the Glazers are done with him. I think Jason Light is probably unhappy with him as well. And again, who knows if Jason Light will be gone. The third loser of the game, I have to give it to the defense. As expected, we were missing a bunch of starters, so it wasn't that crazy to think. Eli was only counted for 1 incompletion this game, but I think there should have been 2. There was 1 little swing pass he threw to Saquon Barkley where he got hit and it went out of bounds, and they didn't mark it as an incomplete. So I think they still gave him those 2-3 yards. I'm not sure. That's what I was seeing online, but hopefully they do take it away. If they do, then 2 incompletions. It's absolutely unacceptable. There were a lot of times that Odell was running completely wide open, Ingram, Shepard, and again, it's just the typical things that have been plaguing this Bucs defense. And then in the fourth quarter, every time Jameis Winston led us back to within 3 points, to within 1 possession, the defense completely disappeared. That Ingram, that 50-some yard pass that he caught and took it all the way down inside our red zone, that was, in a situation like that, you cannot have that happen. But that's been a repeating issue the entire season, as our defense is garbage. So yeah, now some overall analysis of the game. I think Jameis Winston should stay in, continuing to be the starter. I think that him and Mike Evans have a good rapport, that deep touchdown pass. I think Jameis is, you know, essentially we have to play Jameis and see if he is our long-term answer and if he's worth the $21 million next year. I have a feeling the Glazers still want to keep Jameis, and I feel like they're not worried about spending the $21 million because we are going to shed a lot of money next year. I think Deshaun Jackson absolutely has to go now. I realize how much of a diva he is and how much of a poison he is to the locker room. He's only happy when Ryan Fitzpatrick is in there, and Ryan Fitzpatrick hasn't really helped him the last few weeks he was starting. Deshaun's only deep touchdown pass that he caught was from Jameis, ironically, against the Bengals, but since then he hasn't really done much, and you can tell it's very evident when Jameis is in, Deshaun's energy is low, he doesn't have that swagger he normally has, and he just doesn't try. That last Hail Mary interception, it looked like it was going to be picked anyways, but Deshaun kind of slowed down and just put a hand up. I know he's 5'10", and the corner was like 6'3", I think, but you still got to at least attempt to jump up and knock it down. Like I saw the highlight in the Cowboys-Falcons game where the Cowboys intercepted the ball and Julio just leveled the safety, and it ended up being incomplete rather than an interception. And I feel like Deshaun can make an effort. He's a receiver. He never adjusts his body down the field. That's why I think Jameis likes throwing more to O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, Adam Humphries, and Mike Evans, because they will adjust to make catches. If Deshaun doesn't see a perfectly thrown spiral landing directly in his hands in stride, he doesn't make an effort for it. And I think that's bad for a quarterback like Jameis, a young quarterback. So I think Deshaun Jackson is gone after this season. I think JPP, I don't know how many years is left on his contract, but if his contract is up, we need to re-sign him. Gerald McCoy, I think, will stay, but I think we're going to sign him for a smaller contract. Same with Levante David, unless they want more money and will go elsewhere. Again, I think our coaches are going to be gone. The 2 coaches I mentioned last week are Bruce Arians and John Harbaugh, who I would love to see come into Tampa. But yeah, that's for another time. I don't want to ramble too much. So yeah, keep Jameis Winston in. Dirk Cutter's out. Deshaun Jackson needs to go. Oh, and one last thing I've noticed about the offense. Our total offense for this game was 510 yards. That is the 5th time we've broke 500 yards this season, and we are 1-4 in those games, which tells you the problems are much more than who's at quarterback and more so with the defense. So before I go, thank you very much for every Bucs fan who tuned in and every Giants fan who's going to see this and get mad that I said y'all aren't really that good, which y'all can't really debate, but you're going to because you're Giants fans. So yeah, if you are new here, subscribe, like, and comment. Let's go Buck Nation. Let's try to at least get 1 or 2 more wins. Actually, no, we need a good draft pick. Let's start building for next season. So I'm not going to root for the Bucs to lose, but if they lose, I won't be as mad. We need to get a top 5 pick. So thank you very much, and let's go Bucs. Buck Nation, I am out.
Our offense tough, our defense rough. Go Bucs, go Bucs. Ain't no other team stopping us. Go Bucs, go Bucs.